You logged in this, you logged it out. So leave it logged in on this one. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, because it's only allowing one login. Well, I have the camera on you, so this is controlling the camera and the audio. So you actually don't need to log in unless you want to monitor. If you log in as yourself, you can monitor the chat. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, as a participant, and I'm a co-host. They're still. So it goes to test. Yeah, keep it.
Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. Maybe a little louder. Can you all hear me? Great. Good morning, everyone. Oh. Good morning, Kendall. For the audio, for the Zoom. Okay, testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. All right. Can everyone on Zoom hear me? Yes, Pamela. Great. Wonderful. A little louder. Okay. In the yeah. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Is that better? Better? Yes, great. Thank you, Tim. Okay. Great. I feel so fortunate today to have both Paul and Dan help with the technology. So just takes some of that anxiety off. So thank you both for your help. Really appreciate it. Yeah. I just want to make sure I see everyone on Zoom here. Good morning to everyone on Zoom. Hi, Sherry. Joan. Good to be with you all. And Dan, any way you can make me co-host from my name? Yeah, perfect. Great.
Is there any sound now? I'm trying to figure out if my sound is broken because I don't hear anything.
We hear you, Tom.
Okay, I heard you. Thank you.
You're good, Tom.
My mom knows exactly when to call. She's calling me right now. What are you doing? Where are you? Why are you not answering my call? That's all, Mom. Well, it's such an honor to be with you all today on this cool fall day. And just a little introduction about myself. My name is Trina, and I am currently in the teachers training program here at Portland Insight. And I want to welcome you all to our Sunday service. Robert is out today, and so I am filling in for him. And I'm really honored to be able to share the message of the Dharma with you. So I've been practicing insight meditation for close to 10 years now. And I was a member of Insight Chicago before moving here to the Portland area 2 years ago. And some of the teachers that I've sat and practiced with are Andrew Getz, a student of Munindra, and Santi Caro. And during my time in Chicago, I co-facilitated a men's prison mindfulness group, and I started a women's group. And I've also studied in the Chan tradition with the Dharma Drum Mountain Buddhist Association with Master Shen Yen. And I'm really grateful to be born in this life into a Buddhist family and raised by two very devout Buddhist parents. So I followed my parents to the Mahayana Buddhist tradition. And at a young age, I encountered Thai Thich gathas, and teachings. And I will be sharing a chant with you this morning as we open. And my work out in the world is I am a business owner of over 12 years. My daytime job here is as I work as a construction project manager. Kind of hard to see a little petite, small Asian gal driving a big truck, but that's what I do during the day and have a lot of fun with that. And I teach mindfulness retreats and workshops to young professionals, to the Black community, and to other underserved communities. So currently, my partner Joshua here and I, we support people in maintaining a daily practice. So we have a community that sits online every day, 365 days out of the year. And it's my deepest wish to share the Dharma with you and to support everyone in having a daily mindfulness meditation practice. It is the most immediate and concrete way lives can be improved and stress and suffering reduced. And also, it's the only way that we can really experience happiness, a permanent kind of happiness, the happiness that we know we have enough, the kind of happiness and inner peace that everything we are looking for is already available to us right here and right now. And so this practice is coming back home to that remembering, to that knowing, to releasing and extinguishing what is getting in our way. So let us begin with the 3 refuges. So if you might, some of you might have the handout here in front of you. And this is brought to us by Thich Nhat Hanh, the 3 refuges. And we turn to the 3 refuges as a coming back to remembering, recalling the path that we're on. Oh, I have it. Thank you, Annie. Perfect. And we'll start with the 3 refuges, and then I will chant the remaining part. And if you have that copy in front of you, you're more than welcome to follow, or you can just listen with the energy of taking refuge, of resolve, of coming home, of remembering why we do this. What is our commitment? I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. Nam Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and love. Namo Dhammaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Dhammaya. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community that lives in harmony. Namo Sanghaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Sanghaya. Dwelling in the refuge of Buddha, I clearly see the path of light and beauty in the world. Dwelling in the refuge of Dharma, I learn to open many doors on the path of transformation. Dwelling in the refuge of Sangha, shining light that supports me, keeping my practice free of obstruction. Taking refuge in the Buddha in myself, I aspire to help all people recognize their own awakened nature, realizing the mind of love. Taking refuge in the Dharma in myself, I aspire to help all people fully master the ways of practice and walk together on the path of liberation. Taking refuge in the Sangha in myself, I aspire to help all people build fourfold communities, to embrace all beings and support their transformation. So let us now find a comfortable seated upright posture. We will sit for 40 minutes. So let us sit in such a way that the back is upright, just like dishes neatly stacked, one on top of the other. And it's important to make sure that you feel it comfortable, but not too comfortable that you fall asleep. And checking in with the body. How is the body today? Feel the weight of the body being supported by the ground below you. And feeling the point of contact where the sits bone presses against the cushion or the chair. And taking intentional breaths. As you breathe in, feel the energy wind coursing through the body. And as you breathe out, let go of the mental busyness. As you breathe in, notice the air passing through the chest, filling up the belly. And as you breathe out, notice the breath emptying through the chest, emptying the belly. You might notice the rise and fall of the breath in the chest or in the abdomen. Hearing sounds. Hearing sounds outside the window. Hearing the breathing of those around us. And just get present to the experience of sitting here. The body breathing. Oftentimes we hold tension in places in the body and we're not even aware of it. Notice where there's any rigidity, any way that you're holding the posture. Allowing the shoulders to relax. Allowing the neck to relax. Softening the muscles in the face. Softening the jaw. And breathing in such a way that brings more relaxation and calmness into the body and into the mind. Breathing in long, breathing out short, or breathing in short, breathing out long. What does your body need from you in this moment? More relaxation or more energy? And it might be helpful to identify where the breath is most prevalent, where you can feel it the most in the body. Is it in the abdomen, in the chest? Is it at the tip of the nose? Or is it feeling the breath moving through the entire body? Whole body breathing. Awareness is present to feel the breath fully from the beginning, middle, all the way to the end. Again and again. Pay attention to what thoughts or what feelings, what is pulling you away from the present moment. Can you generate the energetic effort to set it down with loving kindness and with a strong determination to return back to home base? To take interest in the breath. Take interest in what sensations are arising following these thoughts. Tending to the breath, like a mother tending to her young child. Working with patience. And don't get discouraged if your mind is restless today. In the next moment, in that next breath, the opportunity is to begin again. And in seeing the restless mind, the agitated mind or the mind that is pulled into aversions or craving. To notice it is the first step of mindfulness. And then what's to follow is sliding into the present moment. Feeling the body fully. Feeling each breath coming and going. Feeling any discomfort in the body. Without any need to push it away or any need to grasp onto a pleasant thought or feeling or fantasy. Give yourself the permission to be here, the permission to set down anything that's unresolved or incomplete. Stepping into the present moment is like a kindness we give to ourselves. Giving the mind a break and give to yourself the present moment. Rest in the present moment. Find comfort in the present moment. Perhaps in one breath, we may feel discomfort and anxiousness. Allow the next breath to nourish us. To hydrate us. Breathing in deep, breathing out shallow, or breathing in shallow, and breathing out slow. And perhaps in the remaining time of our practice, you may want to try smiling as you meditate, allowing a soft smile to take over the lips. And just notice if that makes a difference. And I'd like to close our sitting period with a gratitude practice. So I invite you all to bring to mind, what are some things you are grateful for in this day, in this moment, here and now? Grateful to have a healthy, able body to practice. We can be grateful to have ears to hear and receive the Dharma. A mind that is ripe and has all the conditions to awaken. We can be grateful for all the causes, conditions that lead us to be here today, to sit in our community, to have teachers that have guided us and supported us along the way, our parents, our family members, our friends. Grateful for those who have come before us, making this life possible, transmitting these teachings to us. For thousands of years. And I'd like to take a moment to commemorate the people who live on this land, the land that Portland Insight Meditation Community is located on. This place that we gather is an ancestral land. And let us remember the many people that dwell on this land before us and honor them. These are the tribes of the Clackamas, Cowlitz, the 7 tribes of the Confederate tribes of the Grand Road, the 27 bands of Confederate tribes of the Siletz people, the Indians. Remembering and acknowledging all the indigenous communities, those of the past, those in the present, and those in the future. Acknowledging the people, the indigenous people of this land that were forced to leave for the benefit of colonists and settlers. And that we now are the beneficiary of that. May we express great gratitude for all the cause and conditions that led to this day, to what we have. Grateful for those who have stewarded the lands. May we be worthy of receiving this offering, this life, through their contribution. And may we remain mindful and make ongoing efforts to recognize the knowledge, the creativity, and the resilience of the indigenous people. And now Jim will lead us in Qigong. And please come back afterwards to hear my talk on, I will be talking on our path. Why do we practice? And what's the motivation for our practice and understanding the path that we are on? So thank you for sitting with me, everyone. See you back in a few.
Thank you. Okay, get myself positioned in front of camera for the Zoom folks. Thank you for joining me from home, and thank you for joining me in person here. Trina turned our attention to a gratitude exercise, a gratitude practice, and part of my work doing Qigong and Tai Chi, I often think of the generations of people that had hands and feet and arms and legs and worked out all these patterns. And one of the ones that I've been working with more recently, the pattern is just standing like a tree and getting in touch with the gravity that's holding this form, this body upright, but with two strong pins underneath. The two legs are are reaching down into the earth with roots into the earth. And then everything about the tree is open and flexible to the winds and the visitations from insects and birds, and just open. So the idea is to begin your practice with opening the back of your neck with this little reach. Just use your chin to reach out as if you were grabbing a tennis ball and bring it in, and then feel how the vertebrae in the upper spine, right below the skull, stretches a little bit and is uplifted. It is oriented to the sky. And then bring your attention to the shoulders that have these long branches attached to them, and soften that, be open and welcoming to the sensations in the shoulders, down the arms, into the hands. So all of the limbs of the tree are open to experience, open to the sky, open to the birds, open to leaves growing, emerging, arising, developing out of this softness and openness. And then sink into the knees and feel the flexibility of the hips and the knees and the ankles that allow us to lift and sink and adjust to the experience that is around us, and just like a tree that's adjusting to all the influences of wind and rain and sun and rich experience. So let's sink and let the arms rise and release. And notice how there's energy flowing across the top of the arm that people many thousands of years ago began to notice. That's kind of like a yang, a positive, a feeling of agency along the upper arm, upper part of the arm that's being lifted. And then when we release, we don't just fall. When we release, there's the yin part is applying the brakes so that there's a soothing rhythm. And with these two principles of being positive and being receptive to the situation, the agency that acts on the situation and the receptiveness, we lift and open and combine all these things in many different ways, allowing for more air, more oxygen, more chi. We fill a bigger space. And then we become aware that we've been surrounded by space and interpenetrated by space ever since we started. We can reach up into the space and play with it, playing as if you're painting a rainbow, relaxing into the movement, discovering any areas of tightness or constriction and breathing into them, letting them relax, and then dropping both arms. We cross the wrists and come up the center and separate clouds. And that gives the shoulders and the upper spine a little massage, because we can't reach with the hands without connecting all the way back to the spine. So this reaching opens up a different feeling of openness. And then just zeroing in on the spine itself. Lift one hand with the palm up and the other hand with the palm forward, and just push and pull at the same time, and feel the rotation in the spine. Feel the gentle massage of all the vertebrae from the bottom to the top. So we create images and thoughts about pushing and pulling, but then the body comes around and opens to the possibility of that. You can open to the possibility of movement in the shoulder socket. We're not forcing anything. We're cooperating with the basic liquid connective tissue we have. So we got this earth connection, and then this watery connection in all of the joints. And then we turn a little bit and raise one arm and then lift the heel at the same time. And you can feel the earth in the leg that's got all the stability. And you've got the fluid movement in the shoulders and the hips and the ankles, fingers. Turning, we gaze at the moon and get a little more twist in the spine. And that twist is squeezing out stubborn, constricted areas that are holding tension, and just allowing better flow up and down the spine, left and right, front and back. Now we press to the opposite corner. Again, feeling that strength in the leg that supports us with this weight way out here. We don't think about it, but we're carrying 2 4-pound weights as soon as we start activating the arms from the elbows to the fingertips. We got 4 pounds of flesh. So that adds to the challenge of stability and balance over here. And it adds to the challenge over here. And that gentle challenge creates a flow, creates a circulation of energy. And then reaching across, we look at our palm and then let the other palm look at the earth. And we have a cloud moving across the sky and a shadow following on the earth. Switch hands. The notion of uniting energy from the heavens and energy from the earth is key to the flow of energy in Qigong. It's a way of sustaining well-being by using all the energy available to us, summarized by heaven and earth. And they're coordinated. They work together for well-being. Okay, then we step forward and take the weight to a position in front of us, and then rock back and lift that toe. So we're pumping lymphatic fluid with the movement of the arms and the legs, just as if we were walking and cleansing the whole body. And we get a chance to play on the noise in the floor. I learned yesterday there's a Chinese or a Japanese art of the nightingale floor where they tune the creaks in the floor. I just heard about that yesterday, and I keep thinking about it. What would it be like to pull up the rug and tune it all? And all right, following the waves, we move the weight forward and then come back. So we're kind of sitting on a stool where the shoulder, the hip, and the ankle feel aligned, and we're almost sitting down. There's strength here. And then we go out and the other shoulder, the other hip, the other ankle take the weight. So we're moving from strength to strength. So it's effortless effort. We're in touch with the strength all the way through. And this beautiful music comes from this floor below. Then come back to the center, make a fist, sink, and let the dragon rise from the sea. So we open up the shoulder socket a little differently now. And then spread your wings and go up on your toes and fly with the cranes. And then open the stance a little bit and just turn the wheel. Swing the other way. Now come back to the center with our feet underneath the hips. So we're square again. And then lift one hand and one knee like you're bouncing the ball. And notice how the body can be balanced on one leg. It can be balanced even though it's moving through space. The body adjusts, compensates, flows into the other side easily. Then the last kind of summarizes everything we've done. We're after openness to the earth energy, and we're releasing tension and stress. Open to new energy, releasing. Nice, symmetrical, soothing, healthy well-being is stimulated by gentle movement. And then we can take one hand and bring it in front of us and let the other hand rest inside and just feel the effects of all this movement. You might be breathing a little deeper, be more aware of the full movement of the rib cage and the lungs. You're still in touch with the earth, solid, connected through gravity. And those vertebrae in the back of the neck are still reaching for the sky, but with just subtle energy, just subtle effort. It's not anything stressful at all. All right. Thank you for playing the game. Thank you for being here with me and on Zoom. You can see a couple of hands moving. And I'll be available here on the third Saturday of November to do another Qigong workshop from 9 o'clock till 1 o'clock. So if you're free on a Saturday morning, come and practice with us. It's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Jim?
Nice.
Thank you, Jim. And Kendall, would you like to do the announcements for us? Hello, friends. Nice to see you. Some of you coming back from the bathroom, etc. You guys on Zoom. Let's see what I can remember. Probably the first thing to remember is simply go to the portlandinsight.org website, which has been remodeled if you haven't noticed it. So it is much more navigable now. And so if you look under community, you'll see various things being offered. Like, for example, tonight is the Be Queer Now. I believe it starts at 6:30. It's every Sunday. And every other Sunday, well, not exactly, the first and the third Sundays, I offer an evening 6:30 to 8:30 of continued Dharma. And there's also something happening pretty much every night. There is a new class coming up, so tell your friends who you think might be slightly interested in learning about mindfulness that there's a beginning class with Doug Pullen. It starts December 1st. And there's also going to be a day-long special event on December 3rd. That's going to be with Robert. He's going to be doing a day in the Eightfold Path and a day of practice. Monday night, Jim has a class. Wednesdays, Gregory has a Wake Up Wednesday. So some of this can be found by looking under teachers on the website. And then you'll see teachers' web pages and offerings that they do if they aren't necessarily hybrid in this building or online through PIMC. I don't think there's anything that I might have drastically forgotten, except that I'm really happy to see all of you here and thank you for being here. Think of anything I might have forgotten, Jim? That's it for now. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Kendall. Just leave this with you, Dan. That's at the end. Sure, please. Now. I did forget something. I forgot something very major, and that is the practice of dana, that of generosity. And as some of you know, and some of you might not know, the practice of the teachers is given freely. In the time of the Buddha, there was a give and take. The teachings of the Dhamma was supported by the community, giving alms, and the monks in turn would give the Dhamma, and they were provided medicines and robes. Well, we're in a little bit different time now, and we're in a different place where we're hearing the Dhamma. And so the act of generosity helps encourage our practice, and in fact, is one of the first of the three practices that the Buddha taught. Generosity was the foundation, that if it weren't for the generous nature of kindness to ourselves and compassion to ourselves and each other, we would not be living harmoniously. So just if in this encouragement of generosity to yourself and appreciation for hearing the Dhamma, and in whatever way you feel you can give, both in generously volunteering, like some of our people have who've greeted us, thank you, and those who
fix snacks, which will be out here in the back later. I don't know if there's snacks.
Not today.
Sometimes there are. Not today.
Yeah, we didn't have that.
Not today. But you can still talk with each other.
Yeah.
And we have
Volunteer.
volunteer operations that always need help. And even if it's only like $5 a month or $500 a month, doing it online gives PIMC the opportunity to be able to have some dependability on what comes in. But of course, that's not necessary. There's a beautiful Donna bowl over here, which was Robert's alms bowl when he was in robes. And in the back is a little box. And you can put anything that you feel like flowing in that box. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Candle. How's everyone on Zoom doing? So sorry, it's easy to forget because you're so quiet out there. So today I want to just call to your remembering of what is your intention to practice. It's important to know this and remember this intention, especially when we lose motivation or we practice and we lose that consistency. So why do we practice meditation? Why do we engage in learning and studying the Dharma, the Buddha Dharma? At first, we come to meditate to the center or to Buddhism, looking for relief for ourselves, looking for relief from suffering. And suffering is what? Suffering is stress. Suffering is dissatisfaction. It's this feeling that it's just never enough. It's just not good enough. Something's always slightly missing. And the good times in our relationship or in our job or in our body or in some areas of our life now is starting to decline or fade. Maybe it's lost its flavor. And the rose-colored glasses that we used to see through, whether it's in that relationship or in whatever it is we're engaged in, now is no longer so much like rainbows and butterflies. And so we go through this wax and wane of experiences, and no amount of entertainment or drinks or food or massages or vacations can get rid of that angst or that annoyance or that feeling stuck or feeling like there's just something missing here. So we come to the Dharma for many reasons. And when we recognize that stress in itself is not other than how life should be, but stress is a part of life. Suffering is a part of life. Just that recognition is the beginning of entering into the noble truths. And then we become interested in reducing our stress, such that we feel called to come to the center, to sit with our group. And we try again and again. And it takes many times for us to make some progress. And at times it feels like things are falling apart, or it's all over the place. Like we're just spread so thin. I know I get this way when my life is busy and full, and it just feels like there's a constriction, of time. And so in those moments, the signal is to stop, slow down, and sit. Even when it feels like I don't have enough, I don't have time to do that. But as we, meditate more and more and we continue in this path, we know that those are the cues for us to stop everything. Life, like our life and our sanity depended on it for us to stop. And so we see the problems that we face on a day-to-day, and we want to know what's the right thing to do, right? How to best respond to this problem I'm having in my communication with someone, or how do I get that person to come around, to realize, to understand? So how to have clarity in some of these big and small decisions in life. This is why we meditate. And one of our goals is to be free of the hindrances, to reduce them, to extinguish the hindrances. And what are these hindrances? They're the hindrance of doubts, so second guessing, being skeptical about that person or what's going to happen, perhaps not even believing or trusting in things. Doubt can knock us off the path. Many times we, for example, an obvious one, when we're in a relationship and we have doubt, we start to get suspicious and we find reasons, we find points that validate why our doubt is true, why it's real. Maybe we have doubts where we work. Oh, I don't think those people really care, or I don't believe that they're going to follow through. So doubt will cause us to terminate and end things and take us off of the path, take us away from what we really want, which is connection and that longevity of connection. And the next hindrance is aversion, which is like hate, having unkind thoughts. This could be resentment, jealousy, anger. So we want to be free of that, but that continues to be there again and again. And there's also sloth and torpor. The mind is clouded and we may be numb or checked out at times. And it becomes impossible for us to concentrate when we sit. So we are not understanding what we're supposed to be doing when we are experiencing this kind of dullness. And the next one is sensual desires, that wanting for shiny objects. That's one that I struggle with. Ooh, shiny objects. Enticing. And for me, it's like, games in the world. Oh, another business idea. Yes. Ooh, a new project. And this is, we could look at this from the consumption of the six senses, the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. And constantly looking for that next thing that will stimulate us, that will quench that thirst, that tanha. And the fifth of the hindrances is restlessness, feeling anxious about something. The mind is overloaded. And this also takes us away from the present moment. And we notice this when we sit, maybe even this morning. So we want to overcome these obstacles of the mind, these 5 hindrances. Yet, what is it going to take for us to master the self? Because if we master and we, overcame the hindrances, we've mastered the self. We may have in this day some resignation about the world, about what's happening on the news, in society, about the environmental issues. And the way out of this dissatisfaction or resignation or despair that we feel, we can find that through this practice, find that resolve. And we come to this practice to find peace in the midst of uncertainty, because the mind always wants to know what's going to happen next. It wants to know what's going to happen next week. It's like, I learned to let go of that being with Joshua. I let him do at times the planning. Like maybe we go on a trip somewhere, or, he takes us out for dinner, a date, and I want to know, and I continue to pry and ask and, and where are we going? How's the weather like? What's the weather like there? What exactly are we doing? And so that need to know in us is very strong, because it's to be, it's to not have to do with uncertainty. We fear uncertainty. We fear not knowing. And so we practice to have peace in the space of not knowing, in the space of things that are always going to change. And after we come to the doors of the Dharma, we start to realize things that before it didn't make sense. Why people are the way they are. Why things are like this in society. We start to see things with clear eyes and with a new sense of understanding for suffering that's out there and suffering within ourselves. And we start to see with a new heart, a heart of forgiveness. And we can begin to understand our problems and others and their problems. We start to see things very clearly. And then our energy is directed towards the things that really matter to us, that are in line with our values and our commitments. Maybe that is a commitment to seeing things clearly, commitment to waking up, a commitment to being skillful. And so we stop living a dualistic life where our commitments are conflicting with each other, and we no longer waste time in doing frivolous things. So we begin to choose wisely what to do with our time, and we choose to live more simply. And at times we will choose different jobs, we'll make some radical moves, have different friends. The activities that we used to do, we no longer do. As I'm saying this, I'm recalling a friend, someone who is now my friend. We met as she just started coming to our morning meditation group online, and she's never sat before, but she came because her friend invited her and said, you know what, this is really going to help you. And when she first sat with us, she shared that she was aware that every time she opened her mouth, she would set fire everywhere. So every time she opened her mouth at her job, at home, in a relationship, an intimate relationship, there would be a fire. And relationships would end. She'd lose the job. There would be riffraff in her communications with the people she loved. And that is a really profound awareness, to know the impact of our actions, our thoughts, our speech. That is the moment when a person awakens and steps out of unconscious ways of being and realize, oh my gosh, I've made a mess here. And oh my gosh, I caused suffering to myself. And now I see the root of my suffering is coming from me, is self-created. And how I can shift that, change that, is through transforming myself. And through the act of transforming the self, we transform our communication, we transform our intention, the kind of activities we engage in. And so she started sitting, and she talked about how difficult it was to sit still. She's like, never in my life did I realize I could sit, and this has been so hard. But Trina, I know there's something here for me on the other side, because in everyone in this sitting group, I see qualities that I want to have. So she was inspired and had trust. And anytime doubt came up, what took place, what replaced doubt was trust, and the belief that, you know what, if they can do this, there's something there for me too. And I took advantage of that confidence and trust she had, and I invited her to sign up for a 10-day retreat. And she did. Someone who just barely meditated for 2 months. She was like, I'm doing it. She's like, okay, I surrender, I trust. So she signed up for a 10-day retreat. And for someone who's talked all their life and made a living out of it, to now, you know, renunciate from speaking, it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. And so, what is the direction we want to move towards in our practice? So before we go on a trip, before we start driving, we first choose our destination. Where are we going today? So if we've never been there before, we're going to ask people who have been there. We'll ask them, and they will tell us, you know, when you get to this road, you're going to see that building, and then you're going to make a turn. And then when you see that, you know, light, you're going to slow down. So we can turn to the people who have been there before to tell us what is going to be there. What are some of the roadblocks? What are some of the indicators that I'm on the right track? I'm on the path. We can turn to the Buddha, our teachers, our Sangha. That's why it's important for us to take refuge, because it keeps us from steering too far off the path and going in the wrong direction. And as we walk this path of awareness, we see that the deepest purpose that we all have is to perfect the qualities of our heart and our mind. And the spiritual path transforms our consciousness. And it purifies it from greed, from hatred, from anger, from jealousy, from fear, all the forces that create suffering in us and in the world. And not all desires and passions are to be abandoned. The desire to attain enlightenment, the desire to be a better human being is a wholesome desire. To be passionate about the Dharma is what gives us that fire, that energy to continue, to deepen, to go further. And that energy is not something we have on some days and some days we don't, but that energy is something we as meditator can create. We can generate that simply by remembering our intention, by bringing to mind our commitment. One of the ways in which, I bring that to mind for myself is to remember, especially in times where things get really hard, is to remember at the end of my life, what would I like to have accomplished? And what would, if I know that my life is uncertain and time of death is uncertain, what next step, what immediate thing I would do now? How would my communication change, or who would I forgive? What would I let go of to be free? And we've seen for ourselves how to generate this energy before in our practice. And so we want to help others. We want to help our family, our friends, our neighbors, our coworkers, our communities. We first must look at what is the path that we're on, and where am I along this path? I remember some years ago, I was on a retreat in Chicago, inside Chicago, and coming into the retreat, I was feeling despair. I was feeling really helpless. I had someone close to me had just shared with me that their husband was gambling and lost tens and thousands of dollars. And one night, he pointed a gun at her. And when hearing something like this of people we love, and we can't do anything about it, I thought to myself, what can I do that eventually could make a difference for people going through things like this? And I also came into that retreat having someone close to me with a loved one who was deeply in the midst of his alcoholism. And he started to hit her and was stealing money from her. And I'm sure all of us here have heard stories of where people suffer in our lives, and wishing we could do something about it. And at this time too, there was a lot going on. I had someone close to me who was on the verge of ending her life. She was so depressed. Relationships were not going her way. She was so depressed. And I thought, why? How? How can I be of help here? What can I do that could impact and change the trajectory of people's lives? Because as we all know, we can't help, but people have to be willing to help themselves, be willing to step out of it. And so coming into that retreat, I felt so much suffering for the lives around me. And we can use that as the motivation to practice more diligently, to work hard in understanding suffering so that we can help others understand theirs. And to be of service, we must learn how to be effective. Otherwise, we can face compassion burnout. And then what happens next is we start to draw boundaries. Like, I will take care of you or I will help you, but there's a line here, which is not always, which is to me like a falsified way of being compassionate, because compassionate is boundless, unconditioned. And so I want to present to you all this path. This is the path of the Bodhisattva. And this Bodhisattva path is laid out by the Buddha himself before he became the Buddha, before he reached enlightenment. He was a Bodhisattva. He served others, and his commitment was to help others be free from their suffering. All along, working to liberate himself. And we can do that too, just like the Buddha. And to take the vow to follow this path, it's like making a declaration versus just meditating for some relief. Like instead of taking medication for relief, we come and practice little, we feel better, and then we go. And then when we don't feel good, we come back and practice. This is like a commitment, like a marriage. We make a vow to the Bodhisattva path to be someone who is dedicated to helping others. And this Bodhisattva is a Buddha aspirant, generating the Bodhi mind, the altruistic mind of benefiting others. And along the way, we benefit ourselves as well in the act of helping others. Master Shen Yan from Dharma Drum Mountain says, when you see only to benefit for yourself, what you reap is limited. Your own rewards will be the greatest when you strive to benefit others. When you see only to benefit yourself, what you can reap is limited. Your own rewards will be the greatest when you strive to benefit others. And in this Bodhisattva path, I'd like to share with you about the 10 paramis. And I just realized we have just 10 minutes. We'll do a turbo share. So the 10 paramis are the perfections the prerequisites to Buddhahood. And the paramis are that which goes beyond. So the first is Kando shared is the practice of generosity, dana. So we can give as a form of one repayment for something that we've received from someone. We can give freely, which is giving with the intention to not to earn the merits, not to be recognized, but to give without expectation. And we can give through material means, wealth, time, our knowledge, through our speaking, and through our body, like donating our organs or using our physical energy and strength to help people. It could be like volunteering here at the center to open the doors of the Dharma for people every Sunday, to provide snacks. And we can give the Dharma, which is sharing your understanding of the Buddha's teaching. I always say when you give that gift to people, you get a lot of karma points, like 5 times more. And we can give the gift of fearlessness. And this is being able to respond to people's fears and their needs, and responding with wisdom and compassion. And when we can help alleviate people from their fears and the origins of their fears, that is a wonderful gift. It's one that I know will make a difference in our society today. And the next parami is morality, sila, in other words, precepts, refraining from harmful deeds, to abstain from killing, to abstain from stealing, to abstain from sexual misconduct, to abstain from telling lies, and to abstain from intoxicants that dull the mind. And the next parami is renunciation. And we can renunciate from the 5 hindrances, which I shared earlier. I particularly love this. There's a book from Master Shen Yen from Dharma Drum Mountain called the 6 Paramitas, so it's the Bodhisattva path. And he says, lay people who enjoy career, wealth, and social status, and others associate with lay life should contemplate that such material things are intrinsically empty. They should understand that their worldly goods are the results of many interdependent conditions coming together and are therefore inherently impermanent. Nevertheless, while contemplating their emptiness, one should still use one's assets wisely to benefit sentient beings without having the notion of I am helping others. So helping others without the notion of I am helping others, but to use our assets to contribute to the lives of others. And the next is wisdom. Wisdom is the ability of discernment. And when we meditate, we start to see when we have that craving for ice cream late at night, or for chocolate, or for one more bag of potato chips, right? One more bag of potato chips. We could use the ability of discernment to be able to decide, is this appropriate? Is this the right thing to do right now? What would be most skillful? And when one's wisdom eye has opened, we have a mind that is not self-centered. And we can apply wisdom to benefit people and to benefit the environment. And someone who is wise has no specific view of the world, that the world is like this or that the world is like that. There's only wisdom that one uses to perceive and to understand the world. And the next power of me, there's about, let's see, five more. The next one is effort to avoid unwholesome acts not yet committed, to cease unwholesome acts already committed, to engage in wholesome acts not yet done, and to continue wholesome acts that you already engage in. And the next is patience, which is tolerance. Having patience with those who wish to harm us, wish to do wrong to us. Having patience with the external environment, having patience with the physical body, having endurance with all the phenomena, pleasure, pain, with all the dharmas. And the next is truth, the Four Noble Truths. Having a deep understanding of the truth that can be universally verified. Not a belief, not a blind faith, but something we know to be true. And we can achieve that simply through mindfulness meditation. We can arrive at that truth through the framework of our body. We don't have to go travel to India to be with some guru. And to have a strong determination or resolve, to gain wisdom, to have the resolve for truth, the resolve for relinquishment, and the resolve and determination for peace. And this kind of determination is stable and firm like a mountain. And when we sit there and meditate, we can maybe even feel like we are like the mountain, solid and unshakable by all the opposing forces of mental formations, of sounds coming from the outside, of the body feeling discomfort and pain. And these characteristics of dedication and the strong desire is present in us when we are feeling resolve. And then the last two is loving kindness and equanimity. So loving kindness is this kind of selfless love, benevolence. It's this active interest we have in people. And equanimity is to practice this unwavering way of being through all the vicissitudes of life. So one way that I look at equanimity is like being at peace even when things are not going my way. And we can tell when something's not going our way. We could check in with the body. How am I being about things not going my way, or what someone said that I don't agree with? Being at peace with loss and gain, with a good reputation, a bad reputation, when we receive praise, when we are blamed for something, when we experience pleasure, we do not attach to it. When we experience pain, we're not trying to withdraw or run away from it. And this equanimity is like a freedom from self-referencing. If the self is no longer there, trying to assess and analyze and accumulate, consume, then there is just being, and allowing life to flow through us. So the Buddha, in many of his birth, he was not aware that he was aspiring to be the Buddha. In some births, he was aware, I'm aspiring to be a Buddha. And in other births, he did not know that he was aspiring to be a Buddha. And so this is my invitation to you to consider making a vow to the Bodhisattva path. The degree of the impact that we want to make in the lives of others, in the lives of those around us, is proportional to our awakening. And so the Buddha, the Bodhisattva, is the Buddha to be. And each one of you here is a Buddha to be. And where we start is on this path, recognizing where we are at right now. And this path of the Bodhisattva is what will take us there. Practice is perfecting. So to study and practice the 10 paramis is to perfect on all these qualities and transcend from one side all the way to get to the other side, the other shore. And that is the way out of suffering for ourselves and for others. And so I want to just close with a quote here. The primary condition of the perfections is great aspiration, expressed as having crossed over, I will cross others over. Being free, I will free others. Tamed, I will tame others. Calmed, will calm others. Comforted, I will comfort others. Having attained nirvana, I will lead others to nirvana. Purified, I will purify others. Awakened, I will awaken. From the Buddha. So the time is 12:03. If you can stay, I'd love to close with a chant. And I know I had Charlene pass out the one of the chants, which was the reflections on sharing blessings. Now let us chant the verses of sharing and aspiration. Through the goodness that arises from my practice, may my spiritual teachers and guides of great virtue, my mother, my father, and my relatives, the sun and the moon, and all virtuous leaders of the world, may the highest and evil forces celestial beings, guardian spirits of the earth, and the Lord of death. May those who are friendly, indifferent, or hostile, may all beings receive the blessings of my life. May they soon attain the threefold bliss and realize the deathless through the goodness that arises from thy practice. And through this act of sharing, may all desires and attachments quickly cease, and all harmful states of mind, until I realize nirvana in every kind of birth. May I have an upright mind with mindfulness and wisdom, austerity and vigor. May the forces of delusion not take hold, nor weaken my resolve. The Buddha is my excellent refuge. Unsurpassed is the protection of the Dhamma. The solitary Buddha is my noble guide. The Sangha is my supreme support. Through the supreme power of all these, may darkness and delusion be dispelled. Thank you, my dear friends. May you go on this day reflecting on the path, and may you choose the path as the path to awaken, to come out of suffering, and to help others out of their misery. May you have success in your spiritual progress. Thank you, everyone.